You can't help yourself.
I'm like, I don't know if you did it right. Only I can do it right.
Exactly. Every time you send me your notes on the edits I do, I'm just like, oh God, why do I even bother?
No, you're doing such great edits. Thanks to my guidance.
Exactly.
I'm like, yes, Jessica, but let's end that clip a little earlier before I snort.
It's terrible. Do it over.
This
is not what I asked for.
Very uninteresting.
I specifically sent you notes. Okay, boss.
Chop, chop. The people are waiting.
Oh my God, no pressure. No pressure whatsoever.
Well, you'll be off the hook in about a week because you'll be in fight week.
I love fight week, princess.
Yay! You don't have to do anything. Everyone opens doors for you.
So nice to carry my bags because I'm so weak and frail.
You need your energy for the fight.
I do.
All the energy.
I do.
Store it up. Store it up for that bitch's face.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost here. It kind of popped up fast, no?
It took forever until it didn't.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm like, whoa. I thought we had more time.
Yeah, that's how fight camps go. They're like, you're just thinking, man, I got 8 weeks. Oh my God, it's gonna take forever. Then you hit 6 weeks and you're like, oh, I can't believe I'm still in this for another 6 weeks. Then you hit 2 weeks and you're like, ah, fuck.
Oh my God, I have to get ready.
Wait, I don't think I'm ready, even though I've been preparing for 8 weeks.
I'm like, have I done enough?
Yeah.
I like lie awake and I'm just like, I know I did all my sprints.
Yeah.
I did all of them. I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a checklist so you can just prove to yourself, oh yeah, I did all this work every day for the last 8 weeks. Yeah.
You're ready.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Great.
Yay.
Yes, great. I mean, kind of was getting to the point where I'm like, I think I'm falling apart. But that's when you know you're ready.
That's when you hit that Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah.
You're just like, popped out of the chamber, ready to light someone up.
Yes, ma'am. It feels good. It's nice because I've done more sparring in live rounds than I've been able to in a really long time. So I think that feels really good.
Hey.
Yeah, it definitely feels good. I've every fighter trains through injuries and I've, no stranger to that. So there have been a lot of camps where I've just had to kind of navigate around certain things. And this is one of those camps where I feel like I've just been really able to like push through things, which is really nice. Yeah, it feels good.
And now you can push through her face.
I feel like I'm in my 20s again.
With your fist, with your young 20-year-old fist.
Yes. Yeah. Unless it's the morning, then I feel a little stiff.
Doesn't that suck? I always remember I was getting ready for sparring and I was reaching down to grab a boxing glove. Like it wasn't even a big one. It was like a 10-ouncer. I was like, oh, let me put this away. And then I reached down to grab it too fast and I went, ah. And legit, like I needed to sit down. I laid down because I was like, oh no, this is what all those commercials are about where they say I'm falling and I can't get up. Oh, I didn't even fall. I just reached down too fast. Like, what the hell? That was the first time I actually felt my age in a long time. So it sucks getting up in the morning. But that hot shower, that will revive you real quick.
Yeah.
Especially right before training. I got to get my hot shower. Otherwise, I'm coming in like Smeagol. Coming in like Johanna. Let's go. Hunchback showing.
Last week when I had dinner with you and Adam and his parents.
Oh, yeah.
I was sitting cross-legged for too long.
Oh, no.
And then I tried to get up. And I was at a 10 in pain. Like my knee was killing me. I was like, what the? I have never had a knee problem in my life, but all of a sudden.
Well, that goes to show that your poker face is also really good because you did not show pain in front of Adam's parents.
I was screaming. I was like, what is this? I mean, it lasted for like 15, 20 seconds, but it was a long 15, 20 seconds.
Oh, man.
And you guys are like starting to walk, and I was like, I'm not ready yet. Yeah. I'm not ready to walk
Go
yet.
without me. Go.
Oh, I just forgot something.
Let me cry. Cry beside myself. I don't want you to see. We did get to watch the fights of Adam's parents. That was fun. His
mom walked out of the room.
Dude, she can't take it. Which fight was it? That
Khalil.
Was it Khalil? Oh, it was the when he was talking and all the snot came out of his out of his nose.
He handled that very well, by the way.
He did. He's like, yeah, and I just sort of, oh no. I just heard Adam, because I didn't even see it when it happened, but I just heard Adam say, yeah, half his brain just fell out of his head. And then his mom looks up and goes, oh no, and walks out the room. I think it just freaks her out that, because she's sitting in a room with three ladies who she's called lovely.
Yes.
All right. And she knows that we do this and we get in there, and that could be us.
Could potentially happen to
with
us.
Our brains coming out of our nose. And
nobody wants to see people they care about lose their brains.
No. It's
on national television.
No. But whatever. I feel like Khalil turned himself into a hero that night. So even bloodied, busted up, and knocked out, he showed just all the toughness, all the skill, like the resilience, and the fact that he deserved to be in there for that title fight.
100%.
Yeah. Another fight I want to talk about is the one in our weight class where our, I guess, what do you call it? Our peer, Carla Esparza.
Our comrade,
our fellow vet. She finally hung up the gloves. Mm-hmm. She fought Tisha Pennington and lost.
Did she?
Yeah, but you know what? It's weird because like I don't know if this has ever happened for Carla, but that might be the first time. No. It happened also with who was it? Who did she lose to? And it was like, what? I forget.
I'll
but
have to pull up her record.
Yeah, it's happened before where she's lost a fight where she thought she won. And the same things happened with Tisha. So you feel bad for Tisha, but also knowing that it happened in her last couple of fights where it was close enough that she probably should have won and she didn't. This is a fight where it's just like, all right. But at the same time, I felt like Carla did enough in the first and third to win.
Was it Gedalia?
Yes, it was Gedalia. The Gedalia fight. It was very close. Well, actually, no, it wasn't even close. She like rocked her. Like they showed a highlight from the Gedalia fight. She was dropping her. She was getting on top. She was looking mean and ended up losing that fight. I remember now because after I fought Gedalia, Carla was like, same thing happened to me. I'm like, fucking bitch. You drop her and she wins the decision. Goddamn. So yeah, that was it was a good fight though. I felt like Carla probably wanted to do a little bit more. She looked very tentative, and I felt like doing that again at altitude, your final fight where you want to just leave it all hanging out there, was kind of a rough thing to show up for.
It's hard. People just don't get it, you know? Mm-hmm. It's hard. And especially, I mean, her takedowns, the amount of energy it takes to shoot in on somebody, have somebody defend, and then chain takedowns together is very taxing on the system. More taxing than striking, in my opinion. Yeah,
I think because you're shooting on people who are good at defending takedowns, it's a lot harder. It's a lot more energy suck. Sometimes, like the Aldo fight, sometimes you could just hang out on the cage and let them wear themselves out trying to take you down. You can see Batista, he had like that huge gas tank for it, but it was a lot of energy compared to what Aldo was doing to defend. Same with this fight. There was a lot of moments where Carla was trying to get in. She just couldn't. Tisha was picking her apart in the first round. Like in the first round.
She was doing well with her range, with the leg kicks, with all of that.
Yeah, which is why I'm not necessarily mad that Tisha won, because I felt like this was one of those split down the middle rounds where Tisha landed big. She like got Carla into shoot mode, because it seemed like at first she was content with staying on the feet. Tisha started landing on her. I think she landed a knee to her face, like landed a couple punches, and then Carla shot and got on top and was good. She was good at holding that top position, but it was literally like halfway through the round. Mm-hmm. So I felt like that was probably the round where it's like, okay, whatever you're looking for, if you're looking for top control, the strikes landed, I didn't feel like did much in Carla's part, but like, I don't know, like it's just one of those fights where it's like, okay, I wish that they judged my fights that way, mm-hmm. but I don't think if I was in Tisha's position, I don't think I'd feel confident that I won that round. Mm-hmm. And
she wasn't confident while they were calling it.
No.
When she heard 30-27, she kind of went.
Yeah. She did not think that she won after 30-27 because Carla took her down all 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. So she was probably thinking, oh, they're scoring takedowns again. Did Tisha land more than Carla all 3 rounds?
No, it was pretty even on striking.
Yeah.
When I was looking at the stats. And the only round that was agreed upon was the second round. And that was the round that everyone gave across the board to Tisha.
Yeah.
And then it was mixing it up. Everybody saw the first and third round differently. I had Carla winning the first and third.
Yeah.
Just because how dominant her wrestling was in the first. I thought she had more control time and she was doing damage in keeping Tisha down. And then in the third, it was Tisha's calf kick, which was really the only thing that she was landing, but she was landing it consistently. And then Carla got a takedown towards the end and unloaded. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was enough to steal the round.
Yeah, the unload looked really bad. Like it looked like Carla was beating up on Tisha. And Tisha said that she thought she scored more on the ground. I don't think so. I don't think that was the case. Like maybe he hit her shoulders or something, but she was landing big elbows from up here to down here. And it was one of the few times that you really see Carla unload that ground and pound. Like I wish she did that more often in her career, or at least in this fight, it might have made that first round a little more clear.
Yeah.
I think the kind of like rabbit shots, the little punches, little elbows that she was landing in like side control in that crucifix position, she could have done a little more just to be like, hey, look, I'm winning. And that's like the struggle with the fighters and the judges. A lot of times you have to perform that you're winning, not just win. Mm-hmm. It's so frustrating. But yeah, I agree with you. I thought Carla won the first and third. And at least, she had the crowd behind her. Everyone was booing Tisha.
That was crazy.
Which was wild. And this is the second fight of the night, too. It was loud in there.
They were ready and raring to go.
It was loud.
Were amped.
They did all their lines.
They were booing Tisha while she was talking about breast cancer awareness.
I couldn't believe it. I was like,
guys,
surely they'll clap for this.
Guys. Nope.
Please, I lost someone. Did she say that she lost someone to breast cancer? And
I couldn't hear.
Oh my God.
I literally could not hear, but she said that it was, close to her and it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And she was, trying to speak on this, very heavy topic, and you could not hear it.
Utah didn't give a fuck.
No, Utah was not having it.
We don't give a fuck.
They will be heard.
They were mad. They were big mad. But like sometimes sometimes it's nice to have, the what do you call it? Just like the rowdy crowd behind you.
Crowd support. As long as they're supporting you.
Yeah, as long as they're supporting you. Even when they're being a bit of a dick. You're like, guys, stop. Stop. Don't defend me while they're talking about breast cancer awareness. No, please, no. No, stop. Keep it going. But it was cool that Carla got to get that crowd support. They were kind of talking about that in the commentary, how she didn't really get that as much in her career with like the way that she won the belt the second time. That super, people call it the most boring fight in history. But hey, like she won it doing the same thing that she's done on her way up to it. She's had some spectacular performances too, but she did get a rap for not being the most like entertaining fighter. So it was cool that she got to go out with a super entertaining like last 30 seconds of a fight and then just get that crowd support behind her and you know, have them boo Tisha. Poor thing. Like
yeah, but she'll get another fight, you know?
She'll get
like,
another
Tisha
fight.
Will be fine.
She'll get a good
She's
win.
Moving on. She's moving, you know, moving on and forward. But that was Carla's moment. And I think that, you know, she had a really beautiful send-off. And, you know, not a lot of people get that. And I think that it was earned and deserved. And I think it was really beautiful. And she got to be there with her family. Yeah. The little kid dressed as the Cookie Monster. Oh, my God. It was adorable. It was a beautiful moment. Did
you see our beautiful highlights in her beautiful send-off?
I did.
They were like, we prepared something for you before you go. And I was like, fuck. I had to make sure Adam's parents weren't in the room. You're going to see some familiar faces. It's not going to be something you like. I'm like, okay, good. They're gone. Okay. All right. Well, I'll watch it.
It was a quick couple seconds each.
Hey, I'm honored to have made the highlights.
Love it.
I earned it.
Listen, we've been around.
We've been there a minute. That was around the same time Eddie Alvarez told me, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Oh, it was because in that fight, in my fight in the house against Carla, my only fight in the house, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel because she was on my back, and I started elbowing her, and she like actually reacted to that, and I'm like, oh, okay, that worked. And so I had a second, and I looked to the left, and I saw the cage, and I was like, freedom.
No.
And then the ref yelled at me and I went, oops. And then I felt an arm go around my neck. And I was just like, fuck. Like literally cheating got me submitted. And I told that story to Eddie Alvarez and he's like, hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I'm not sure if that was before or after he wet Willie Dustin Poirier.
Afterwards.
Oh, God.
No, I think he went for the wet Willie afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Oh, man, I'll have to look.
Yeah, if it was after 2014, then yeah, it was definitely after. But yeah, he walks the walk for sure. But that was a really cool send-off for her. The verdict scores also have her winning the first and third. And, you know, sometimes it's just the angle, too, that the refs are in, that the commentators are in. They're seeing something a little different. I thought the commentators were really seeing something different in the Buckley versus Wonderboy fight.
2018.
2018. It's very long after. He stuck to his
He's
guns
a man of his
for a long
word.
time.
Love it.
It's his mantra.
That fight was frustrating to watch because they were not giving Buckley any credit to his body of work.
No.
And he was, in my mind, he was winning that fight. I have to pull up the scorecards, but I thought Buckley was solving a really complicated puzzle, which is Wonderboy.
Yeah.
Wonderboy is a sharpshooter. He has a really hard style to get a look at in training before you enter the cage with him.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. And Buckley was really having none of it.
Mm-hmm.
He was walking through it with his big punches, with his kicks, with his takedowns. He was doing every single thing well, and he was getting no credit for it.
Yeah,
it was perplexing.
It was. He came in hot. He swarmed Wonderboy, got on the inside, got that big takedown in the beginning of the round. I was just like, oh my God, he's doing it. he's doing it. And the entire time, I felt like he was pressuring well. The things that Wonderboy landed seemed to land on the elbow frame or on the chest, or he was getting out of the way of it. Like Wonderboy was trying to stay on the outside, and Buckley was doing a good job of bobbing and weaving, kind of like a Mike Tyson style, just like using his smaller frame to get on the inside and land big loopy shots.
Yeah.
So not big loopy, but just land like shots over and under as opposed to straight. Once he got into the pocket, I thought he did an amazing job. I felt like he was just controlling the pace in the first and second. I think a lot of people had it first round for Wonderboy, second round for Buckley. I had the first two for Buckley before the knockout. Yeah. And I think another judge had the first two for Wonderboy. So I was just like, what are they seeing? Like, this fight must look different from every angle, because literally the judges on each angle of the octagon were seeing a completely different fight.
Yeah, the majority gave the first round to Wonderboy. And the second round, they were giving to Buckley.
Mm-hmm. And and I think, I was really frustrated with like DC's commentary, especially because he was downplaying everything that Buckley was doing. Like anytime.
Well, there's beef there.
Well, there's beef, but you have to be professional.
You have to be neutral.
Like, don't discredit something that this guy is doing that is extremely hard to do. Many fighters have tried to do what he's doing in that moment, and your job there is to highlight what's actually going on. And he's using, I mean, if that's why, which it always seems like there's some kind of personal drama, when he doesn't like a fighter. I think certain people are able to not put their own personal, like, what do you call it? Just like feelings into when they're talking about the fighters. Like Dom does it pretty well.
He's great at staying neutral.
He's great at staying neutral. He's such a little shit talker. But when it comes to doing his job,
he's got tact.
Yeah, when it comes to doing his job, he does it professionally. Mm-hmm. He doesn't like discredit the person for what they're doing. He doesn't like downplay their aggression, or like the whole time DC's like, oh, he's rushing in too much. He's doing this and that. Like, that's what's scoring him these points. He's rushing in and getting takedowns that you would have credited Lucindo for getting, but you're not going to credit him for getting a takedown on someone who's notoriously hard to take down. Like, I just thought that was a really strange thing that was happening. But when you told me about the beef, then it made a lot more sense. So what was the beef between him and Buckley?
Apparently, Buckley said something about DC, and DC clapped back, and then it became, an internet Twitter clap back.
Okay.
But at the pre-fighter meetings, before the fights during fight week, there was supposedly, it was squashed. They had, gentleman's handshake and called it even. I think Buckley took accountability, for what he said. But it's hard. People are human, and everybody has a bias and a prejudice, and sometimes our emotions get the better of us. And sometimes it's hard to stay on that neutral track.
Well, I know a lot of fighters have issues with DC when he commentates, because he is trying to be this character and he's trying to be funny. And I think a lot of times he just says what he's thinking and he has no filter, but what he's thinking is usually something kind of shady. A lot of times it's something a little rude, and he gives certain people more criticism than others, and it starts to come clear the more you listen to and commentate. So I think I don't know, DC needs to chill out a bit. Paint the picture that's actually there. But I guess that's what gets people excited about watching fights, because you do have these opinionated people calling the shots and telling you what's happening. And another person who was really opinionated was Joe Rogan. Not during this fight, but whenever we had like the split decisions, I feel like Joe Rogan didn't agree with any decision that happened at 307. And it kind of validates anyone's opinion who's already thinking that. which is why I was annoyed that he was saying that Buckley wasn't doing well because it was obvious that he was.
No, he was doing a great job. Thompson is really hard to take down. He's hard to land strikes on. He's so elusive and fast, and he has a really challenging style. And Buckley was landing and getting in places where other people haven't.
And, talking about biases, a lot of people are very, very biased to Wonderboy. They
because he's a nice
there's
guy.
There's nothing to dislike about him. He's nice. He works well with kids. He's like a hard worker. He has a karate background. Like there's no Muay Thai kid movie. There's no like wrestler kid movie. There's a karate kid movie, and everyone loves that movie. And so he is living in the hearts and minds of a lot of fans, like especially a lot of like American fans who grew up on this karate kind of upbringing and stuff, and they like looked up to all the karate guys out there. So Wonderboy holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts, and so there's always going to be bias towards him because of that. I was looking on like the comments, and this is I never see this really unless like somebody beat up a pretty girl. Like that's the only time I see this. But on the comments, people are like, "Man, I'm never gonna forgive Buckley for knocking out Wonderboy." Oh. And I'm like, I don't really see this that often. I feel like it has to be someone who is like a GSP. Or a Wonder Boy, or like a Jose Aldo, like these people that we regale in this like really high manner, and then you knock them out. You're like, no, you're disrupting. Like
you just told me Santa didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. You're disrupting like what I believe is true, my religion. So yeah, I think it's hard for people to accept. Maybe that's what DC was on top of the beef and drama.
Maybe. Potentially. Well, we don't know.
We don't know. But, dude, that was a crazy knockout for Buckley. What do you think is next for him after? Because a lot of people who have beaten Wonderboy have gone on to do great things.
Let's see. Rankings. I just got away from it. I don't know why.
Yeah, the last person to beat Wonderboy was Shavkat, and we're talking about title contention for him now.
Let's see. In the
also another person, the other last couple of people to beat him were Bilal and Gilbert Burns. So this is a huge deal. Buckley knocking out, not just beating, but knocking out Wonderboy in the way he did.
Yeah. So Buckley was 11, and Stephen Thompson was 9. I want to see. I bet he could get like a, Ian Gary, Sean Brady. I mean, he could probably. I would love to see him fight Colby.
Ooh. So, did he call out anyone?
No, he didn't. Not that I heard, which is weird because he's always calling his shot.
Yeah. I wonder what that's about. Well, hopefully we see Buckley get another big name soon. Everyone above him is a big name.
No,
but
he's climbing that ladder fast.
Yeah, there are definitely fights to be made that are really going to push him to the top. I really like Ian Gary and Colby. I think those are fun ones to make and definitely winnable fights for him. And yeah, we'll see what happens with that, with the new Mensa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One fight that we didn't talk about yet, though, was Kayla versus Ketlen.
You know what? Ketlen makes everyone look small, and Kayla made her look petite.
Right?
Holy shit.
Like, why are you beating up on that little girl?
Leave her alone. I didn't know how this fight was going to go because I thought Holly Holmes was going to be a lot more challenging of a matchup for Kayla. And you just don't know, coming from a different promotion, you don't know exactly how somebody's going to do. But she passed that test with flying colors. And then what she did with Ketlen, she ran into some issues. She faced some adversity, but she still got her down. She still imposed her will. She still showed, a pretty dominant performance. And so Yeah, I'm just really impressed with Kayla. I think that, she's got her eye on the prize, and if not one more fight, I see a title fight next.
Yeah, she's up there now. We were talking about the rankings earlier, and for her being ranked number 3 already, which I think is kind of wild that she jumped up there.
It is.
I don't think Holly was ranked number 3 when they fought, but now Kayla Harrison is up there ranked number 3. I mean, record has something to do with it, but like Juliana Pena said in the press conference, who have you beaten? So it's gonna be interesting to see who they give her next if it's not a title shot. But I feel like if you're gonna put her up there in the rankings, just pull the trigger. Just let her fight for the title. I feel like that's what they're gonna do with this. What's his name? The guy who's fighting Roy Val next week.
Oh, the Japanese guy.
Yeah, like if he beats Roy Val, then they're definitely gonna give him that title shot next.
Tatsuro Tiara.
Yeah, Tatsuro Taira. And he hasn't been in the UFC for long.
No, but he is 16-0, and they are very hot on him.
Yeah, so I feel like, just do it. You guys make the rules. Let her fight for the title. I don't think Pena really has that much say in who it's going to be. She can make a suggestion and hope that they agree, but I don't think she can say no.
The UFC wants what they want.
Yeah, they want what they want, and they're going to get what they get.
Yeah, hopefully she'll get, more money for it. But, it just seems like that's the storyline that they're building towards, and they're building towards it fast. It's kind of like it's such a fast trajectory, just like Pereira, It's I kind of wanted a little bit more of a story build, but now that we're here, I'm loving it.
Yeah. And so same thing with Yuri too. He had like a super fast explosion into the UFC. I feel like it was like 2 or 3 fights before he fought for the title, and then he won, and everyone's like, how?
Yeah.
He just has that wild style that you can't get past. A lot of people can't get past it, and they end up getting hit and dropped trying to. But I think Kayla has that same unique ability where even though you can still see a few holes in her game, you can see, her striking isn't the best yet. She's getting better every time she gets out there. Like, she landed some nasty kicks in this fight. I don't really feel like I saw her kick before this fight, and she was doing okay on her feet, landing a couple big shots. She ate some, but defensively she looked really good. So I feel like that fear of getting taken down by Kayla is going to really help her striking be even more aggressive the more she trains and the more she knows how to wield it, like wield that fear, like use the feints and use the level changes and the pressuring to really open up shots for her. But once she gets to the ground, she's such a monster. And one thing that people probably don't realize about Ketlen is that she's really hard to control. I was talking to Misha Tate about it, and she was just saying how Ketlen is a big girl and she has that judo awareness. So the fact that Kayla was still able to get her down and control her, even though she wasn't able to submit her, she was able to control her, which is something a lot of people weren't able to do on the ground against her. So going on the ground against someone like Juliana Pena, against someone like Raquel Pennington, I really feel like she's going to be able to shine there.
Mm-hmm. I feel like with what Kayla lacks in the striking, it's made up for with her judo background. She's competed at such a high level. She's a 2-time Olympic champion, and I think that just having that background, it gives her a lot of freedom to learn on the fly with her striking. She has that fail safe. So even if she's, losing the striking, she can always rely on the judo. She can always rely on that strength and that competitive edge that she's had from competing for so long.
For sure. She's an athlete. It's going to be fun to see what happens next for her. But what other fights happened on the card that you want to discuss before we preview next week?
Well, I think that we should bring up the weird reffing
that
was happening with the fight on the preliminary cards. It was
just a one fight, right?
Almeida and Potieria.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the
I had
the ref.
I have his name. Where is it?
And he's a little bit newer too. It's Dave Seljestad.
Yes. I believe that's the name I have too.
And so we had 4 eye pokes, 1 nut shot.
Yes.
And we had him separating the clinch against the cage in like under 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was times. Crazy.
It was the craziest thing. And I'm glad that was the last fight that he was going to call, because he was a little bit, newer, and they're, letting him get his experience in. But what he did to the flow and to the energy of that fight was it was brutal.
Yeah. So I looked him up, and he's actually called UFC fights before. He was the one that stuck out to me was Miranda Maverick versus Priscilla Cochiera, and I was like, oh God, I hope she didn't get to poke her in the eye in that one, because that girl Miranda would have lost an eye. Like, that girl's known for habitual eye poking, but in this fight, he was not on top of his game. He acted like the eye pokes weren't happening. Then thankfully, Almeida was nice enough to punch the guy in the nuts right after.
Thank goodness.
So he would get a break. But if he hadn't done that, this guy wouldn't have had a break at all in between eye pokes. And then every time they started again, eye poke, eye poke, eye poke. It was always on the clinch break. Like, every time the clinch break happened, there was an eye poke. And it was like, how do you not see that, or at least acknowledge that the fighter is in pain and the other fighter isn't complaining because he felt the wetness of his eyeball on his finger? So, like, give him a second. Like, look at the replay. Give him a second and look at the replay.
It was just very frustrating, and I really feel for Potieria. He had a really rough go about it, and yeah. I think that
it took him out the fight.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, these kinds of things, these events that happen, and then them not being called, it's like mentally, physically, emotionally, it can take you out of it. And it did. Yeah. This ref, potentially could have taken that win away from him. Mm-hmm. We don't know what it would have looked like otherwise. But what I saw was him not giving this fighter the opportunity to do his best.
Yeah, he did not protect the fighter in the way that a ref is supposed to in these fights. Like, the only reason they're there in the cage is to make sure that fouls don't happen. The fight is being fought in a fair way, and if you get to the point where you can't defend yourself, the fight's over. And he didn't protect him. He didn't at all. And then when they would clinch up against the fence, and he finally, Potieria finally got some control over the fight, he'd break them immediately.
It's insane.
He didn't even give him a chance to catch his breath. He didn't even give him a chance to throw a knee. Mm-mm. Like, if he was setting up a strike, the guy would break him before he get to do it. And a lot of times when you clinch up and you're not trying to get a takedown, you're waiting for that clinch break so you can throw an elbow, throw a knee, do something when the person thinks you're disengaging. He robbed him of those moments in the fight. So I'm like, that guy sucks. And the commentary was saying that Mike Beltran was on the sidelines just screaming bloody murder, like, he's getting poked in the eye, don't break it, like he was not approving, and he's one of the best refs out there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that guy really, man, I really feel bad for Potieria. I feel like he wasn't really given a chance, even though the fight might have gone the same way without the eye pokes. Like, you don't know, because every time he shot in on Almeida, he had to worry about him using his fingers to eye poke his way out of that takedown. I poked his way out of that clinch break. Mm-hmm. It was horrible. But why do you think that happens? I have a theory that people who mainly spar in big gloves, they don't get used to closing their fingers in those moments or putting their fingers in the right places, because in the glove, your fingers are just kind of dangling around in there. So you never have to really worry about it.
I agree that that's what that is. And sparring with big gloves, you know, it's necessary to a certain point, but you also have to be responsible with your weapons. You know, this is what we're preached to behind the scenes right before we go out, you know, when we're in those fighter meetings. And it's something that has to be trained in you if you're using big gloves all the time. You have to train your fingers to close. You have to train your wrist to go up and stuff like that. And if you're in big gloves, you're kind of immobilized in a way, and you're not really seeing the dangers of your tools.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the clinch break is usually when you see that happen, when someone's head is pressed into you and you're trying to get that head off of you, and like the fingers just slip in there because they're literally like funnels. Your cheekbones and your eye sockets are like funnels to the eyeball, so your fingers just slip in there even if you're not trying to cheat. And that guy was just being so irresponsible with where his fingers are, because one or two can happen, but it was like 4 or 5 or 6, one after the other, and you're seeing what's happening. You're seeing what's doing it. A hard warning would have definitely made him care a bit more.
There was no warning whatsoever. There was no like, warning. Hey, fingers up.
Yeah.
Hey, fingers up. There was nothing. Nothing.
It was wild to see a ref so not in control of that fight. Could you imagine if he was doing the Makayev versus Cop fight? No. Those kids would have ran all over the place. They would have ran all over him.
His pants would have been down.
His pants would have been down. Balls out. Complaining, getting punched in the face. Guy telling him to fight back even though his balls are dragging on the canvas.
There's no way that I don't think there's a way that I wouldn't have complained. Yeah. I wouldn't have said something. I wouldn't have said something in the corner like, hey, just like somebody.
Well, there was that one moment where he tried to take it into his own hands, and he looks at his opponent and he goes, hey, put your fingers away. Like, he dropped his hands. Potieria did. He dropped his hands and said, can you put your fucking fingers away? And the guy kind of stopped and was like, so at least there was a little communication there. I honestly don't think he was trying to cheat, but I also don't think the consequences of him poking in the eye were enough for him to really do something about it when he's winning the fight. So that was super frustrating to watch. Oh, I don't know what I would have done as a fighter, as a cornerman. Like, it's just really hard to watch something like that happen. But yeah. What are you gonna do? Well, let's just briefly like zip over some, because this was a good card. I was really stoked for Court McGee getting that sub of Tim Means. It was real nice, just like body lock takedown to the back, get on the rear naked, bam, done. I always feel bad for Tim for the, when the old heads fight each other, but it was a really good win for Court.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. He's, and I mean, I love his story as well. Whenever they talk about his battle with addiction and, how he's really transformed his life. I love hearing stories like that. And I think that, the people that go through that, they have that, like, just something extra, that extra kind of grit in them. Mm-hmm. And I really root for them. I of course root for, the old dogs too. I want to see everybody winning, but I thought what Court McGee did was really impressive. And he's, constantly evolving. The Roman Dolidze and Kevin Holland fight was a little weird. I thought that Roman, I was kind of giving him an edge to that fight. Going into it, and I was impressed with his game plan. It just sucks to see a fight won like that.
Yeah,
it didn't really give Holland the opportunity to execute his game plan and show out.
Yeah, because like we've seen Holland in that position before, where he's still kind of figuring out the fight, figuring out how he wants to approach it, might give up a takedown or give up like a couple of exchanges on the feet, but eventually he finds his way. He finds the submission or finds the knockout. So it was really frustrating, or really broke my heart to see him hurt his rib in that way and just try to fight through it, but not get back in there. Like it sucks. And I feel like some people were criticizing the fact that he quit on the stool. I think the only person I saw was Conor McGregor, but
stop it.
But he deleted the tweet right after. But in my eyes, Kevin Holland, he broke his rib with about a minute left in that round, and he fought through it. He tried. That was him trying to continue to fight on his broken rib. He couldn't move for a second, and then he rolled over, was yelling at the guy from Mount, and like the whole time we're yelling, Bridge, do something. Why are you doing that?
Couldn't bridge.
He couldn't
bridge.
Imagine bridging with a broken rib.
No.
You can't even sit up.
You can't breathe.
The first time, you've broken your rib.
Yeah.
Multiple times. I'm sure, yeah. The first time that happened to me, it wasn't broken. It was like a bruised rib. I was like, I think I'll be okay to train the next day. I tried to sit up out of my bed in the morning, and I was like...
No, it doesn't work like that.
There's like an invisible hand just holding you down.
It's awful.
It's the worst.
It's awful.
You literally have to roll. Like you have to roll like a kid rolling down a hill in the grass to get out of bed when you have a broken rib like that. And like he was holding his rib all night. He wasn't trying to get sympathy. Like the shit hurts. It probably feels like it's gonna pop out of his rib cage, out of his skin if he doesn't hold it in.
Your torso is like the most movable part of your body. Mm-hmm. It's constantly, you're breathing, you're rotating, you're moving. Like anything will upset that part of your body when you have an injury there.
Yeah, it's the worst. So kudos to him for trying to fight through it. He really, really tried to like amp himself up, get the adrenaline going back again to step back out there. But I feel like it was the right call to make.
No, and I mean, credit to Herzog for going to the cornermen to ask them what they thought instead of Holland, because he was going to put himself back in danger.
No, for sure. You never want to be put in that spot too when you're the fighter. Like, yeah, you might want to have a little control over it. Just be like don't throw in the towel. Don't do this. Don't do that. Let me go out on my shield. But it's always nice when someone's willing to take that blow for you and just make the decision that you don't want to make, because we're never going to protect ourselves in the way our coaches are going to. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that sucks. Poor rib. Poor rib. And one more, the Ryan Spann submission, another kind of bittersweet one, because Ovince St. Preux is always like held a sweet place in my heart. He's such a gentle giant, mm-hmm. and such a nice guy. And to see him go out like that just kind of sucks. But Ryan Spann, he landed a really nice, I think it was a cross. He landed like a nice 1-2 down the pipe, rocked him. And then Ovince did the takedown, reaction like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work out for him. He was able to get that neck, Spann was, and hit the guillotine. And I'm trying to figure out if Spann can drop a tutorial on that, because
the super manatine.
The super manatine does he call it that?
That's what they coined it last night. Oh my god. The super manatine. That
doesn't even have a ring to it. Guillotine is so
I like
much cooler.
it. I like saying it. The second time I said it felt a little bit better.
Super manatine sounds like a Superman that's also a manatee, like a manatee in a cape.
I'm getting a visual right now.
The super manatee.
I love it. I'm here for it. That was hard too, because they were talking about OSP being 41. It's the last fight on his contract. He wants, of course, to continue fighting. And I mean, I want to continue seeing him fight. I think that there are some, technical things to be desired, especially defensively with Ovis. I think he, throughout his career, has just leaned back a lot when he's exiting.
That chin.
He does. He leans back and
he does the tall man thing.
Yeah, he does. And it's just something that really, I think there's still time to train it out of him, mm-hmm. or at least have, instead of going straight back, cut an angle. I still really enjoy watching him compete, and I'm a fan of his, so I hope he gets back in there.
Yeah, same. We'll see where he ends up next. But Spann, that was an awesome submission. And I just want to make a quick comment about the crazy Christian comment that I made last week, because some people were butthurt. Just because they're crazy doesn't mean they're bad.
It's just a term of endearment.
Also, just because I said those were crazy Christians doesn't mean I think all Christians are crazy. I mean,
people love interpreting things.
Everyone has some weird book that they believe in and pray to with all sorts of fun stories.
I pray to mushrooms.
Hey, there you go. Hey. So I've come to respect everyone's beliefs the same. And yeah, it is what it is. But Spann, he channeled his crazy Christianness too. He after his win, and this is the first time I've ever heard anyone do this, he goes, "Hallelujah, hallelujah." I was like, ooh, is he gonna start speaking in tongues? Are we like at a Baptist church right now? Like, let's go. I was here for it. So I feel like he kind of found himself after the last couple of losses. He like did some soul searching, got some soul food, had some Sunday night dinners, and it was like
now he's back on track.
Yes, he's back on track. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. So yes. I was happy for him to get it, even though it was offense. I was happy for him. Well, next week, what's happening then?
Oh, we have a little fight night coming up. We have Royval versus Tyra.
Oh,
in the main event. In the co-main event, we have Brad Tavares and Park Jun-young. We also have our girl, Cory Mckenna, taking on a short notice replacement, Julia Polastri.
Ooh, fun.
Yes.
Yeah, that girl, she's kind of crazy too.
Her nickname is Psycho.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, she's pretty nuts. I feel like she dresses up like Harley Quinn for Halloween. Like she has that kind of vibe to her, where they cut to her. Because I watched a couple videos of her when Cory told me she was fighting her, and a couple times they'll cut to her when they're saying the tale of the tape, and she just goes to the camera. And she's like,
"Listen, she knows her brand and she sticks with it. This is the brand that she wants. We just have to be here for it."
You are Psycho. Yes. I'm like, all right,
get it, girl.
I need to start leaning into that overkill thing. I'm trying to think, what could I do that would be overkill so people would associate the nickname with the person?
I mean, I think you kind of live it.
Oh, what? What? How?
I mean, look at your house with all the skulls and the death metal.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Every T-shirt you own has a shrunken head on it.
All right, so I guess it's more of a natural thing.
Look at that right there, that sticker.
Oh yeah,
there you go. That's overkill right there.
Yeah, it is.
You've branded yourself well.
Okay, thanks. Just making sure that I'm not letting Psycho show me up.
No, you're good.
Yay, good. We still need to get you a nickname. I still like Octopussy. I feel like that.
Stop it.
It's the villain in James Bond.
I know what it is.
Octopussy. And when you grapple, it's like you have 8 limbs.
Yeah, totally.
And it's a funny name.
And I'm not having pussy in my
name. It has so many layers of meanings. Guys, if you have a good nickname for Jessica, leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear them.
She would love to hear them.
Al Dante, that was another one that we that we thought of. Jessica Al Dante Penne.
One of my friends used to call me Noodle because of my last name and because I am
gangly
as such.
Noodly. Little noodle. Oh, like olive oil.
I've been called olive oil too.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
I've been called olive oil too.
Have you done olive oil for Halloween yet?
I never have, but I feel like I should. But I want a Popeye to do it with,
I I could be a Popeye.
Oh, baby.
I ate my spinach. Yes. All right. Well, we got some fun fights coming up next week. And then the week after that, we have Jessica Penne on the roster. Make sure to check it out. Yeah. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. We're out of here.
Bye.
Bye.